Hey, all you garden lovers out there, welcome back to my channel. You are at Gardening TLC and I am Michelle. We are going to be working on another design today in the front of the house. I'm going to bring you a fun little twist on landscaping though. Think about using the same plants but changing the color palette out. You would be amazed at how different a landscape looks just by changing the color. So we're going to dive into a digital design landscape, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. So come along today and let's go check it out. Color is pretty important in the garden. And if you think about it, when you go to a garden center, what do? You walk around and you're drawn to all the beautiful color. If you're walking through someone's garden, what makes you stop? Either a smell, a shape, or a color. And more times than not, it's usually a color. So I want to talk about color in the garden today. Now, I'm not going to get into some big, in-depth color design theory, anything, because even I don't want to sit through that and listen to it. But I do want to talk about just three different, concepts about color, and then we're going to do a design. When I do the design, I'm going to use the same evergreens in the same place in every design. I also have one little baby tree that I'm going to put in the design that's going to stay there as well, and a piece of outcropping. Now, everything else that we'll put in the design, we're going to change. But when we change it, we're going to change just the colors, not the plants. So it's really interesting to see how that changes up the look of the design. The other thing that we're going to change in each of the designs as we change the colors is the pots that are in the design, because this was a pretty unique little house, and it's got these cut throughs from this porch that we're doing the design in front of, so we're going to take full advantage of those. This is a color wheel. I'm sure you've seen one before, but we're going to talk about, the three things with the color wheel that you want to think about when you're designing the colors in your garden. So the first one we're going to talk about are the colors that are next to each other. Those are called complementary colors. And so as you can see, red is next to orange is next to yellow, pink is next to purple. Those all complement each other. So when you're creating a garden, if you use two colors that are next to each other, or even three on the color wheel, you really can't go wrong because they're going to look good together. Now, another way you can do it is what's called monochromatic. So monochromatic is colors that are the same. So it might be orange, but it's different shades of orange. Or it might be purple, but it's different shades of purple. They're all in that family, and therefore it's monochromatic. Now, the last way that you can put the colors together is contrasting colors. Contrasting colors are going to be opposite each other on the color wheel, like pink with green, red with blue, orange with a different blue, purple with yellow. All of those are opposite on the color wheel, and so they give you contrast. All right, so those are the three things that I want you to think about, because I'm going to show you a design using these three principles. Okay, here is our cute little house that we're going to do the design in front of. This is a south-facing house, so it gets hot, blazing afternoon sun, and we have planted accordingly to that sun that it's getting. The bed is 32 feet long, and it can be as wide as we want until we run out of grass. Now, we didn't come all the way out to the sidewalk, but we did go from one end to the other, and we brought the bed out about 10 feet. All right, let's do the design. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the anchors. For me, evergreens are always first. They're the anchors of the bed. It's what's going to anchor the bed in the winter, but it's also what anchors the bed and gives your eye a place to rest. Now, I've used three different kinds of evergreens in here. The green ones are a little bit different in color, and then I've used a blue. So I've got a blue globe spruce. I've got the Mr. Bowling Ball arborvitae over on the left, and then a dwarf Alberta spruce over on the right. Let's talk about the specs. Oh, and yeah, I like rocks. So I put a piece of outcropping in just to break up the area and have something that I can build a little vignette around, right? I love to do that. We will start over on the left with the dwarf Alberta spruce. This is a Picea glauca called Conica. Now, I have seen them get really fat, like 6 feet fat. I've seen them stay 3 feet fat. They're all a little bit different. Now, I like this one. We have them growing in the garden center in one of our beds. It's a nice dark green color. It holds onto that green in the winter, and it's a good size, only getting about 8 feet tall. So it's not going to outgrow the space. The other thing I like about it, zone 2, you guys, so that means it can really handle a lot of cold. But I like the shape. It doesn't have to be pruned. It's drought tolerant once it gets established, and it's got that nice pretty dark green and these itty bitty short needles on them. So all the way to the left, that's what we've anchored that side of the bed with. All right, let's shoot all the way over to the other side on the left. And I'm going to do the Thuja Occidentals Bobolzam, or Mr. Bowling Balls. Now, some places will call this a Linsville Arborvitae as well. This has got the softest, prettiest little needle on it. They're low to the ground. They don't get very big, 24 to 30 inches tall and wide. These are the ones that I actually planted in my back garden this year. And we have them growing at the garden center in the front beds, in front of the front greenhouse, in that brick wall section. So I really like these. They hold onto their color. They're drought tolerant. You don't have to prune them. And they're low to the ground. So they're not going to take over and get too big, but they're a different color green. They're a lighter green than the other side. And greens in the garden are kind of considered a neutral, but you can definitely create different layers with different colors of green. And we're going to anchor those around that outcropping. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. Oh, a dwarf blue globe spruce has got to be one of the most beautiful evergreen shrubs ever. They have this beautiful blue color, and the more sun they get, the more blue they become, and they hold on to that blue color all winter long. Every one of them is a little bit of a different shape, and again, they don't have to be pruned. And what I love about blue is there's so many different hues of blue, and it goes in so many different directions with so many different colors in the garden. But I love this as my big focal, my big centerpiece. And again, crazy cold tolerance all the way up to zone 2. Now, this guy is a super duper slow grower, so I don't have to worry about it outgrowing the space too fast. It is going to get 3 to 5 feet tall, and it's going to get 4 to 5 feet wide. But it is a dwarf cultivar. I love blue globe spruce, and they are deer and rabbit resistant. I've never had them eaten on by either of those two pesky animals. The last anchor that we're going to put in the bed is a red bud called Rising Star. This guy is absolutely gorgeous, but we need a little bit of height on the other side so that we have balance going on either side of the bed. Isn't this the most beautiful red bud? It almost has like a layered look to it as it's got the mix of green and yellow foliage in it. Now, before those beautiful heart-shaped leaves come out, it gets fuchsia pink flowers all over it. This is a smaller red bud topping out at around 12 feet, and it can get up to 12 feet wide. Usually they end up between 8 and 10 feet. At least that's what I've seen. And it's going to take them quite a while to get that big. Zone 4 through 8, but this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I love this tree. All right, this first design is going to show the colors that are complementary, which means they're next to each other on the color wheel. So as you can see, we've got red, orange, and yellow. Isn't that great? It can be this nice, soft, subtle landscaping, but still be beautiful. Now, if that's not enough for you and you want to add a pop of color, we can do that. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But first, let me show you the plants that I put in this bed. Because as I show you the other designs, we're going to keep using the same plants over and over and over again. We're just going to change the colors. The first plant that we're going to use is a drift rose. Drift roses come in a lot of different colors. I love the lemon drift rose because it kind of has a two-tone between that soft butter yellow and that lemon yellow. It kind of drifts back and forth between the two. It's also not a very big rose, 18 to 24 inches tall. So it's going to be low to the ground. It's not going to take over. It's this really pretty soft color in the garden, and they kind of drape a little bit on the ground. They continuously bloom all summer long. They're super easy to grow, drought tolerant. I just think that these are such a nice little rose when you're looking for a lower ground cover rose. They're growing in zone 4 through 10, but they do need full sun to produce well. And yeah, we've got these conditions going on in this bed. I also wanted movement in the bed, so I added grasses and I put those in front of the poles, separating out the different cutouts on the porch. So for this design, I chose the Panicum Shenandoah, which is a switchgrass. And what I like about this grass is how erect it grows up, but it gets those red burgundy plumes that come up through it. And in the fall, it even gets darker. So I really like this grass. It's very dependable. It's a medium sized grass, only getting 4 to 4.5 feet tall, maybe 2 feet wide. So it's not crazy big, and the center's not going to die out. And it's just going to be the perfect thing in that bed to give us some movement there. And it goes with my color scheme perfectly. Now, you'll see me switch the grass out as we go. It's one of the things that we'll switch out: the roses, the grasses, and this next one I'm going to show you. Now, anchored on either side of the bed, where the roses are in the middle, and then you've got the grasses in the backdrop. And then on either side, we're going to do a daylily. And we're going to do the orange smoothie daylily by Proven Winners. This guy is a rebloomer, and it looks like this orange smoothie. It makes me think of like a dreamsicle. It's so soft and pretty. So it's not this in your face orange. It's really subtle. Now, these guys only get 2 feet high and 2 feet wide, growing in zone 3 through 9. And I think that they're the perfect plant to put on either side of the bed. And daylilies come in so many colors. So when it's time to change the color scheme out, you can definitely find a daylily that will work. And daylilies, they're so easy to grow. Bam, check out that orange. Isn't that awesome? We are still using complementary colors. We are still red, orange, and yellow. We just used a darker tone to give us some vibrancy into the bed. And wow, doesn't that pop? I love the pots because they tie in the colors. And I love the dark orange because it's just like, woo, look at me. And it draws your eye all the way up through the bed. See what color can do? So we are now going to look at contrasting colors, and we're going to look at opposite ends of the color wheel, and we're going to look at yellow and purple. Now, you could also put pink in there too, and all of those together would look fabulous. Now, the other thing we did was we changed out the pots on the porch and we went with hanging baskets. This whole thing looks totally different because we changed the colors. So now we have the yellow Stella d'Oro, or you could do Happy Returns on the daylilies. We've gone with a really soft pink drift rose, and then we've changed to hanging baskets with hanging petunias, and we're going with like a pink color on those. Isn't this great? I just love this. Oh, and the one thing I didn't point out was you'll notice that I did put another little arborvitae in. There was a hole there, and I didn't want to leave it. So by putting the arborvitae there, that was the same as the little bowling balls on the other side, it tied the two sides together. Now, I think the biggest dramatic thing that makes the change happen in this bed is changing out that grass. So this is a purple fountain grass, and it grows in zone 9 or higher. So for me here in Illinois, zone 5, that would be an annual, and I would have to replant that every single year. But to get that look, I would absolutely do that because it's just two plants. Oh, isn't this awesome? I couldn't help it. I had to do another one in contrast because doing contrast is probably my favorite way of doing colors. So not only did I do the pink and the purple in this one with the yellow, I went and grabbed the blue too. So we have the blue globe already in there. And now we've changed out the pots on the porch for more of a low squat pot. And we've put this vibrant dusty blue succulent in there. Isn't that fabulous? Oh my goodness. We did every other on the roses. We left the soft pink, but then we added 3 yellow, and we changed out the daylilies for the purple d'Oro. I know. Isn't it awesome how you can just flip some colors around and get a whole new look? I absolutely love playing around with this. Now, the other thing we did was we took the purple fountain grass out because maybe I don't want to mess with an annual, and I put a Carl Forster Calamagratis in there instead. It's got a nice weedy look to it. It's a very dependable, I'm not going to call it a stately grass. It only gets about 4 feet tall, but it's a cool season grass. So it grows right away, gets its plumes on it by June, and it'll give you some movement in there. But I think the star when I look at this one are those pots and the yellow roses. I mean, my eye just kind of goes from the bottom all the way to the top. I just love that. And finally, let's look at monochromatic. So monochromatic is when you're using the same color, but you're using different hues of one color. So in this case, I've chosen pink. And as you can see, I've got some beautiful pink drift roses. I flipped out the daylilies for a nice saturated pink. And this one is called Pardon Me. I actually have those growing in my garden. I do like the color of this daylily. And then we switched out the pots on the porch for just a nice clean white pot. And then we're going to add pink begonias in there. Now, the star obviously are these, let's see if I can say it right. I think it's mole grass, and it's a southern grass. So basically, I saw 6 through 9, 6 through 10. So I'm not sure how far south you can go with this. I personally cannot grow this. And if I want to grow it, I'd have to do it as an annual and I'd have to find it. So I'd probably have to like get on the internet and mail order it and have it shipped, which I'm not about to do that. But isn't that great when you're looking at all the different shades of pink? Now, for us up here in the north, let me show you what I would do instead. I wanted to do all of the designs with the same plant, but for me, because I can't have that pretty pink grass, I decided that I would probably grow something up on a trellis, and you could do like the pink mink clematis. You could do a mandeville that grows up. For me, that would be another annual though, but it would grow pretty fast. But that would give you another vertical there to give you the pink that you're looking for. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for all of us northern people. Did you guys enjoy today's video? Isn't that amazing what color can do in a garden? This way, if I do a design, and maybe every design that I do from the future on, if it's not a color palette that works for you, or you want to try a different color palette, all you really need to do is change the color. So any of those combinations will work. And just by changing out some of the colors in your garden, you can create something that's uniquely your own. Isn't that awesome? Well, that's a wrap for today. Don't forget, Garden Gab is this Saturday, so make sure you tune in at 6 a.m. Get up, get your coffee. No, I'm kidding. You can watch it whenever you want. So Garden Gab is on Saturday, and it's where we answer questions from the last or the previous videos, and we share viewer submission pictures. Don't forget to send your pictures in a landscape format to this email, and then tell me who you are, what we're looking at, where you live, and what zone it is. We also want a little tidbit this month, one item of something cool or new or fun that you're going to do in your garden this spring. Make sure you include that as well. So that's it for today, you guys. We will catch you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Give yourself a little TLC. You deserve it. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.